Hi folks, in this episode we talk to icon Marlborough legend Jeremy McKenzie. Well known for his multisport, but recently topping the headlines by winning the London show with his fantastic Chardonnay from Isabel Estate. In this episode we dig down to his roots, where he came from, and why he really enjoys Marlborough, what brought him here, and also what makes him who he is today. We get into his multi-sport accolades, right from coast to coast to the up-and-coming Godzone and where he's been before. Overcoming injury was a huge part of Jeremy's life, and that just makes him who he is today. Look, I hope you enjoy this episode just as much as I did making it. Enjoy, folks. Cheers. Welcome, Jeremy, episode 1. It's been a long time planning, and it's great to have you here, mate. So you've come straight off the river, I hear.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. And just a bit of light training on the go at the moment. So paddling on the great river that we've got here locally, the Wairau. So nice space here to do all our training and that sort of thing.
For a guy that's come off the river, mate, I would be just absolutely dripping, and you've turned up looking like that. That's just a credit to how fit you are. So what are you training for? Is this for Godzone or?
Yeah, we'll get into that a bit later, I guess. And for Godzone, so a couple of months out now, and we sort of only committed not so long ago. But yeah, our team, which our original team actually, so from the Kaikoura Godzone. So 10, 11 years later, we've come back together and ready to roll.
Brilliant. I look forward to diving into that a little bit more. But one of the big reasons, and mate, you've been in headlines across the world this year with your winemaking skills yet again, with the winning wine of the show in London. Tell me about that. How did that happen, and what's gone into it?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's the Isabel Estate brand, Isabel Estate Wild Barrique Chardonnay, 2022. So yeah, fantastic vintage, fantastic wine. That was the London International Wine Show. So pretty highly regarded show, and lucky enough to jag champion wine of shows. So awesome for the region, awesome for our team, and that as well. Love to celebrate the wins and that when we get them. And I guess really cool to have this gong from the Marlborough region, not just Sauvignon,
Well, that's what I was about to say. Like, we're not famous for our Chardonnays, are we? So like Sauvignon Blanc region, and we're going to pump up Sauvignon, of course. But what's gone on to the Chardonnay? How have you created this from Marlborough?
I guess probably one of Marlborough's best kept secrets is their Chardonnay. Fantastic Chardonnay, whether it's our Chardonnay or Grey Wacky, Dog Point, Mahi, Blank Canvas, all produce top class Chardonnay from the region. And we're really lucky at Isabel Estate to have fantastic vine material. Over 40-year-old Mendoza cloned vines. Just beautiful fruit to work with every year. And if I don't mess it up, then generally we're on the money with our picking decisions and that, and a lovely fruit to work with every year. In fact, I guess since 2016, when we started the Wild Barrique label, it's pretty much picked up a trophy every year. So.
Yeah, because so this isn't the first time it's been in the headlines. It's just that this is the first time it's won the overall whole show, so the major prize. So well done. So winemaker, you're a winemaker of the year 2022 in New Zealand as well. Let's just get back to the roots. Let's get to know Jeremy McKenzie, because where did this guy come from? Obviously, you're getting the accolades now. We all, us as Marlborians know you as a hard worker and a grinder, but and obviously a fantastic winemaker. But hailed from North Canterbury.
Yeah, I grew up in inland North Canterbury in Harwoodin. Born in Waikari Hospital, very close to Bell Hill, a fantastic Chardonnay producer. Yeah. And I guess that was my my growing up was in that country area, and mum's a teacher, dad's a stock agent, a couple of brothers who used to play fight all the time like any normal brothers. Motorbikes and hunting and fishing and swimming in the Huroneri River and that sort of thing. That was us growing up.
Yeah, so you grew up, were you on a farm or just a lifestyle property or?
Yeah, we looked after the Catholic Church farm and that there, and Dad ran that for a while. And then, I guess, being a stock agent, we were around livestock all the time, up in the lake station and here and there. I was used to do browsing and pressing and that sort of thing in the school holidays, and dragging sheep out of the pen for shearers and bits and pieces like that. So yeah, definitely a really cool upbringing in that environment.
Do you think that contributes to like where your work ethic actually started, like in those initial years where you just had to, roll the sleeves up as a young fella? Like there was no age limit on how young you started things. You probably learned to drive a car when you're 7 or 10, and you're out there, pushing up for the shearers, So do you think that contributes to who you are today? Like surely.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think rural upbringing and you know yourselves with parenting and all that sort of stuff as well. Good work ethic and good morals and that sort of thing go a long way. And, definitely were, had to fend for ourselves in terms of if we wanted to go to university, then we paid for it, those sorts of things as well, So, during my university days, I was pouring concrete at 5 a.m. and then going to university at 8 and, footy training after uni, and that was how it rolled, and hunting on the weekends. And back then, mere venison on the West Coast would buy deer and wild pork and that sort of thing. So often we took a few loads over there and then had a few beers at the Bailey pub on the way home.
Yeah, brilliant. No, that's so good. And let's get on to the education thing while you mention it. So, where did that start in the tertiary for you? Like your high school, but tertiary, where did you go into the uni sector?
Yeah, sort of left Harden back in the day and went to St Bede's College in Christchurch. Good school with great mates and that sort of thing. And I guess that's sort of where it all started. I had a really strong science background and I loved science, and probably hence why I do what I do now. Typical boy, played footy, played tennis, played squash, athletics, all that sort of stuff. I played for the first 15 for a couple of years. Went on a gap year to Ireland, which was pretty awesome. And that sort of fueled some of my journey on wine while I was there, and traveling through France and Austria and Germany and that in the summer months as well. So
yeah, because obviously not coming from a wine background, you've picked it up along that way, and that was on that OE, and you've come back and you're like, right, this is what I'm going to do for my life.
Yeah, I guess the two things I sort of wanted to always do was either brewing or winemaking.
Yeah,
I guess I was quite a good home brewer as a 17-year-old.
Were you brewing for the flats? Like, were you the guy that's like, right, we're going to Macca's house?
Yeah, well, that's right. It was all in a controlled fashion, obviously, but
surely
it was well supervised, but good fun, and produced a pretty smart Pilsner back in the day.
Before your time, eh? Like, it was only the 3-star space where I was from. So, yeah, well done. You're upper class.
Yeah. So, and I had a real sort of love for forensic science as well. So,
is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, I did a BSc in Biochem and Micro at Canterbury, and then went to Auckland and did a postgrad in forensic science up there, and then went back to Lincoln and did a postgrad in viticulture and oenology, and that was where it rolled from there. And the wine industry was on the go, and Marlborough looked a lot more ambitious and enjoyable than being a lab rat in Auckland. So that's where I came.
Well, you've just mentioned more letters than I know in the alphabet, and in regards to your qualifications, mate. I'm from Central Southern College. I made it 3-7 form, but well, I credit to you. You've obviously accomplished all those things. Ended up winemaking, and you decided, right, let's get to the heart of the wine country in New Zealand, and decided to move to Marlborough.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was in 2000. So, in saying that, I'd been here to the Wine and Food Festival a few times before that.
Back when it was really pumping, they tell me 10,000 people, and I've heard stories.
Yeah, 10,000 people, hay bales, good music. It was the place to be. And, during those weekends, spent some really good time in the sounds and that as well. And, it was the environment that I really thrived in, loved the outdoors, could see myself living in this sort of region. So, yeah, that's how it kicked off.
So we were talking a little bit about, and I'm going to go backwards and forwards a little bit, but I just want to touch on your sporting there, because we've mentioned you were right into everything, like you were tennis and rugby and athletics, and so you're mainly mainstream multi-sport now. So where did the passion and love direct to that? Like when you first moved to Marlborough, were you rugby in Marlborough, or what? How did that progress?
Yeah, always had that stuff in the background, but yeah, footy was the love, I guess. And when you come to a region like Marlborough, playing sport's a great way to meet new people. And, and rugby was where it was at. And obviously, had some great seasons out with the Moodery Club.
Club, yeah.
And, really enjoyed my time out there. And in fact, my uncle also played for Moodery Prems and that back in the day, and had a few photos of him on the wall and that, so it was quite cool to have a bit of history there as well. And loved the time out there, loved the game, and I guess as time wore on, the body took a fair few hits and that, and I decided that I'd change over to multisport, and hence started training for Coast to Coast and those sorts of things, and then from there on to where we are today.
Yeah, fantastic. And so as far as employment, when you're at this point in Marlborough, your first wine company, where did you really get your teeth stuck into, and where did you make your name for yourself?
Yeah, so it all kicked off with one of the sort of older families here in Marlborough, the Rose family and Rose Family Estate. And,
brilliant.
Good mates with Hamish for many years, and Phil and Chris been fantastic over the years, and still have good rapport with that team, and so that sort of kickstarted on the trimmer and that in their vineyard in the summer, and whacked a few vines off that I probably shouldn't have, and then cut a few wires, but Hamish got me sorted, and I could drive a tractor, just didn't have the iron at that stage, and from there I went into back in the day Repara Vintners, and working in Repara Vintners. Back then there was I think there was Babbage and Matur and Nautilus, and that all being made out of there, and Rose family as well. Back then they were called Wairau River.
Yeah.
And so that was my on the RDV there, kicking it away, and getting involved in the wine industry. And
yeah, perfect. And so as you progressed as a winemaker, because you were winemaking there at Repara Springs, or
no, just a cellar hand then, so pretty much from then on I started heading overseas, and Australia and vintages over there, and into Burgundy and that as well. And then from there I was lucky enough to land a really good job with Alan Scott and as winemaker there, and sort of moved through the industry really quickly. Took my next step after Alan Scott into a senior winemaking role with Villa Maria, and that was a really cool journey there with George Fistanich and Alistair Mailing, MW, and that as well. So
Was that around like the 2014 era, around then, or?
No, well before then, actually. Yeah, so 2006 to 2014.
Yeah, 2014.
Yeah, 8 years there, making some amazing wines, all the single vineyard Chardonnays and single vineyard Pinot Noirs and that from, some of the best sites in Marlborough. And, those are the things that really sing Marlborough, part of that material fabric of what the industry's renowned for. And we made some fantastic wines. They were really highly regarded, written up by Jancis Robinson.
Yeah, wow.
And that as well. And I guess that sort of single vineyard story and that really shone with me, and I enjoy that sort of provenance and that tangible stuff, and hence to where we are with a single vineyard site like Isabel Estate.
Yeah, and producing quality. So I think we've gone as far as we need to at this point on your winemaking journey, because we're going to end up back here on this wine that we're enjoying, 2022 Chardonnay. I absolutely love it. Thanks for bringing the bottle in, mate. It's not often you can chat and drink your favourite wine at the same time, and fantastic. And something like this, can't really call it work, can you? But let's just bring it back to your sport and and your drive here. So you've finished your rugby career at this point in 2006, your multisport full time?
Yeah, so really started to kick in then, with triathlons and that sort of thing. I was never a great swimmer, mainly due to technique. Had a good heart and good lungs and power, but yeah, the swimming was where I battled a wee bit more out of technique, and that I'd still get through it reasonably well. But running and on the bike, pretty strong. And I guess I've always wanted to do the coast to coast. It's been an icon event, and watched it over the years. And Steve Gurney and Russell Prince and all those old heroes, were quite inspirational. And then I guess that was one thing I really wanted to tick off, and started training for that. Obviously had our first child and that around that time as well. So, just trying to juggle work and training and that sort of thing. And really wanted to give that a good go. So straight off the bat into the one day.
Just straight into the one day.
And had a great race and ended up 6th overall in the one day. And it was pretty cool to be able to race like that, and that when I hadn't done anything to that
first off the bat and that level. And you're racing against guys that are most likely training half their working day. You're full-time working, you've got a young family, and you're juggling this. Like, how many hours would you be able to fit in training for something like that?
Yeah, I put a lot of hours in on the weekend, and when I could really, a lot of guys are over 20 hours a week. I was trying to do sort of 12, get a good pedal in on the weekend, get some decent rides and running in. So the more time you put in, the better results you'll get if you manage yourself well. But and as you say, back in the day, there was Richard Usher, there was Dougal Allen, there was Braden Curry, there's Sam Clark, all these top racers who were racing. Yeah, so it was a bloody tough field back then to compete with, and putting yourselves against those guys, even though you're not quite not quite on their pace, was still pretty good to wrap up 6th.
But a sense of achievement. You didn't only achieve 6th once, though. It was 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I went back again for a second round to try and break the top 5. I've always had a goal of trying to break the top 5.
Yeah.
Bugger it, I ended up 6th again.
You got 6th again with those same 5 guys.
Yeah, I think it was. I think I was hoping Braden wasn't
just surely someone trips over on that hill.
That's right, but no. So that was that, and then changed over to
Ironman. I was just about to say that. You had a cricket. It was X-Terror, or is that what it was called?
No, Ironman. Yeah, half Ironman, full Ironman.
Yeah,
as well. So had some good races.
Is this in New Zealand or?
Yeah, this is in New Zealand. So obviously, there was quite a few half Ironman events back then. Even the one here in Marlborough, which was reasonably well attended, and won that half Ironman here. And but Challenge Wanaka had half Ironman races, and won my age group there a couple of times. And in the full Ironman in Wanaka, ended up 13th overall against the pros and that as well. So first full Ironman off the bat.
And those are the guys getting paid, sponsored, and you're ranking up for 13th place, which is amazing. Just to remind me, on an Ironman, 3.5K, 3.6,
3.8.
3.8.
Yeah, 3.8.
In the water.
180.
180 on the bike.
42.
And 42.
Yeah. So
that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. It was going pretty good in the run till about the, 35K mark, and then ended up having a wee sleep under the sprinkler for a bit to cool down, and got back up and finished it off.
So you're training, because you're juggling all these full-time jobs and making some fantastic wines, and the young family, you've probably got two kids at this point. You must have a sense of really hard grit mindset, determination in your brain that is carrying you to get to this point. Am I right? I know you. So to get to this point, you're a guy that is pushing yourself to the extreme, to the max, and getting through that pain barrier. Have you taught yourself to do this from a young age, or have you just?
Yeah, I guess we go back to growing up in the rural environment, and, spent a lot of time in the hills when I was young, hunting, from an age of 10 years old. I was in the hills, in the steep hills, in the bush, pulling wire up Glenza to Cara and Island Hills, and sandflies and storms of dust, and that back in the day. And I guess living in the huts and that as well, and that out there, and carrying pigs out from 10 years old, 11 years old. That's been sort of 35, 40 years of hunting there, and all that sort of stuff, I think, really builds that endurance base. And, I think that there's a lot to be said about that, the time you spend in your upbringing and that sort of stuff as well. And, I'm lucky enough to have, a really good supportive family, and Beck and that as well. She obviously understands the game and that too. And she's from a farm, and that
she's in it herself as well. She's an athlete in her own right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it sort of works pretty well. We work in tandem,
Great team. And we'll get on to your kids' achievements soon, but that could be a whole nother episode in itself, Macca. But hunting has been a huge part of your life, and something that you've enjoyed about Marlborough, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so you get out most weeks, or when you can, or you're still doing it now. You're running around the hills probably like you're 21 again, but it's something that has been a passion of yours, like winemaking. And, what part of life has that created,
Yeah, absolutely. And that, as I say, that comes right back to growing up in North Canterbury, and, those times are special. That time, I love my time in the hills, and, there's nothing better than being out there and doing it. I love farms. I love talking to farmers. I love that sort of, rural stuff, and, catching up with the guys and that on the farms. I love the dogs and that sort of stuff as well, and sort of always had a team of dogs, and that even since I was 14 years old. And
so you got your own dogs, and
absolutely,
all the way through. You said, but you've always had the team of dogs. And I think about Marlborough, to get from, say, Blenheim to anywhere is only 15 minutes, but to get to the back of the hills, distance-wise, 45 minutes, and you're out the back, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the key things in getting down the sounds. You could be out fishing, and
just that proximity to everything's so handy. So many times that we've been diving in the morning and then hunting in the afternoon, or the other way around. And
such a good place.
Very lucky to have everything like that on your doorstep, and great place to bring kids up and that as well, and give them all those opportunities.
Oh, too right. I suppose I'm going to ask you a bit about a dark time that you've had to go through in your life, and this is probably the resilience part, and I love this part of your story, mate. This has made you who you are. Well, and just the determination and grit and resilience is that day that you were out pig hunting with your son, wasn't it? And a mate?
Absolutely.
Is that right? And probably had one of the most horrific injuries you could have, right in your peak fitness too. So you want to tell me about, tell us about that.
Yeah, that was a pretty tough period actually, and I was right on the verge of 3 weeks out from the World Half Ironman champs, and everything was booked, everything was ready to roll. I was out on my last hunt, and jumped off a bank and landed in a deep hole. And anyone who can remember Michael Jones's incident, where he went over the top of him, snapped all his ligaments, but at the same time, I shattered my knee to bits. So shattered all my tibial plateau, and my fibula and that sort of thing in that area. And, managed to crawl back to the quad, and, Finn, who was 10 years old then, took me on the quad back to the vehicle, and then I didn't really realise the extent of the injury at that stage, and obviously a fair bit of adrenaline flowing, and loaded the dogs and the quad back up, and drove myself back home, had a shower, and gave my sister-in-law, who's a physio, a call, and said, I wouldn't be able to come and see you quickly, would I? And then I said, yeah. I said, I think I've either broke my leg or something. And anyway, went down and caught up with Anna and stuck it out the side of the door, and she was like, oh, no, I can't do anything about that.
So, for a guy that stubs his toe and complains about it for a week, you've literally just ripped your leg to bits, right? There's nothing left holding it together. Not only have you pulled every muscle, you've blown all the bone to bits. Am I right?
Yeah, around the tibial plateau, which is the
you've gone to a physio friend to see what she could do about it, and ended up at hospital. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then got myself up to hospital and on the bed, and way we went from there. So X-rayed, and got a titanium plate down and pins and everything from Auckland, and that from a surgeon in Auckland, and Priya, who's a surgeon here in Wairau, did the operation, and nice big L plate in there, and nine big titanium pins through it to piece it back together. And I guess so it was, went from hero to zero in a really short space of time, and was in peak fitness, probably the fastest I'd ever been. And I, knew I was never going to be back there again.
Wow. And that must have been a tough pill to swallow, mate. And at that point, you're laid up. You've gone through the surgeries, probably multiple, and you're lying there going, "Wow, what's next?"
Yeah.
How did you cope through that? Like, what's going through your mind? Like,
yep, no, it's so true. And I've talked about now that the outdoors is my out and my time where I think and keep motivated and everything like that, and not being able to do anything at all like that for 6 months was really tough. And I guess what could I look for? And I was doing weights and stuff and trying to get some aerobic fitness in. I was as soon as I could get in the pool, I was back in the pool, and was running up and down lengths of the pool and going against the lazy river and the wrong way.
So you're right back into the lazy river days. I'm there right now with my 4-year-old, and crikey, she's a workout going the wrong way.
Yeah. So I was doing laps of that and just trying to get back on the horse, and from there we rolled into some new things.
Yeah. And one of those new things, which, we caught up a few weeks back and we reminded ourselves of the Fight for Life that came to town and obviously raising money for life education. And I got roped into it. I'm easily twisted in the arm. But somehow you were like, right, I'm going to do this. You're in a knee brace. I remember you turning up to the first training in your full, well, not just a knee brace, in your full leg brace. And you're like, right, I'm going to fight someone in the state. Well, did you think that was obviously a good idea?
Well, I knew that we had a bit of time. My knee brace was about to come off, so I knew, and obviously we had a fair bit of training to get under the belt before then. But fantastic cause, and was keen to be part of it. And but the other thing I thought was, fantastic training, and get my movement back, get some aerobicness, fitness back.
Because the fitness involved in that was incredible, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to it than that too. The more you get into boxing and that too, it's, that strategy and the fact that it's actually a game of cat and mouse, really. And, for sure there's shots thrown and that sort of thing, but it's an interesting pace in that ring by yourself.
It's full respect to anyone that goes in that ring, right? And you come out there going, wow, adrenaline overload. What I love about this story is I got in and out and said, I'm never doing that again. Not you. In Macca fashion, decided you'd go and do some amateur fighting. so you carried on like with a limp. You've still got a limp at this point, mate.
Yeah.
And you thought, right, bugger it, I'm gonna carry on.
Yeah, well, that was it. I guess what else did I have on the go? I was trying to get back on the bike, and it still didn't have the flexion I could get. So I was working on quite a lot of things: swimming, biking. Couldn't run at that stage. So I carried on and had a few amateur fights, and I enjoyed it for that strategy as well. That sense of control and stuff was it was quite good, and I think some really good learnings from it as well. Apart from the fitness and that too, but I enjoyed the time, and it was a period of my life where I did something else out of the box for me, and then allowed me to get that aerobic fitness back to where I can get back on the bike and do other stuff.
Yeah, totally. Was that around the time? I'm just trying to think on timelines here, because you've packed a lot into your years that you've been on this earth, mate. But you made the papers for saving a kid or something in the river. Was that around that time, or am I totally out?
There was.
I'm trying to piece it back together.
That was slightly before then. Yeah,
was that before then?
2014.
What happened there? Tell me about that. I've never talked to you about that. So I'm quite interested.
Yeah, I guess. Got a bronze medal for bravery from the Royal Humane Society. It was just one of those interesting events that you come across. I mean, we were having our tasting of our wines and grading for Villa Maria at the Scenic Circle, because there was renovations going at Villa Maria. So I just happened to be driving over the Taylor River Bridge and could see a girl floating down the river with her backpack flowing around her head, and total flood. And
oh my God.
Yeah, so pulled the truck up on the side, and another young fella, Angus, was there, Marlborough boy, and we both. The main thing there was the footbridge coming up, which was submerged. So imagine the poor girl getting sucked.
Oh yeah, that'd be horrible.
So that was the thing. We wanted to get her out before then, and managed to dive in and get her back to the side. And she wasn't in a great state. A bit of a high maneuver and get the water out. And luckily, at that
so
stage,
it got to that point. It was very serious.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So one of those.
Well, you're a hero as well.
I wouldn't say that. It was,
but that's just you know, no hesitation, mate. You back yourself on your fitness and your ability to swim and jump in. Like, credit to you, well done, mate. That deserves a drink of Chardonnay. I'll give you the tip. No, that's great. And so from here, I think let's talk about kids. You know, you've obviously 3 kids, and how old are they now?
Yeah, got 3 kids. Gee, I'm out the other side compared to you now.
You're not back in the pool going to the rapid.
Yeah. So Finn's, he's 18. He's living in Mooloolaba at Sunshine Coast University, studying psychology and business. Just did a 7-week stint racing in Europe on the road bike.
Amazing.
And Neve is 16. She's up at St Kentigern's College in Auckland. And Honor is 12, and she's here at Bahuli.
Cool. So you've still got one at home.
So we're lucky we've still got Honor.
Yeah, holding on real tight. She's not allowed to leave, right? But I suppose those two are really showing, you know, signs of their mother and father and their athleticism, right? You know, and doing well on that European tour and whatnot over there in the cycling. What a beast!
I mean, he's got Finn's a pretty strong rooster. Obviously, he loved his footy as well. 3 years in the first 15, but knew that he's never going to be big enough for an open side flanker these days. So, he went from 87 kilos as an open side for the first to 74 at the moment. So on the bike, and he loves all that stuff. I mean, he won the 2-day coast to coast as a 16-year-old.
That's right. That was amazing.
So,
First time doing it, was it? For
second time. He got third in the first time.
And won it at the age of 16.
Yeah, 17.
17, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, but first time was at 16. And I guess it's that monkey see, monkey do stuff, Well,
I doubt there would have been many iPads in your house, was there?
They've always been pretty active, the kids, but in saying that, they love their time out, and there's plenty of times they'll be lying on the couch and just tapping through their phone, and I guess that's their downtime. But they
for sure,
they like to be kids as well, which is really important. So they love having good friends, and they love getting out there and that too. But they do know how to train well. They know how to hurt. Neve on the weekend, New Zealand Secondary Schools race, road race, got cut off and over the handlebars into the ditch.
Wow.
Blood on her, cracked helmet, and the main bunch just carried on bowling on. She TT'd for 7K by herself to get back onto the main bunch, and obviously burned a fair few matches.
That's time trialled.
By herself.
I'm just trying to pick up on the lingo. Time trialled by herself. Wow.
To get back onto the bunch, and she only got back on with 800 metres to go, and they hit it again, and she ended up second overall in the sprint finish, after burning all those matches. So, I guess, that there, and then the next day she went through and won the points race on, with really sore ribs and shoulder, and
that's just great, isn't it?
And and I guess that's what we talk about, just monkey see, monkey do.
It's hard, yeah. And so are you their coach or their mentor? Well, you're naturally a mentor, I get that, but do they have obviously their own coaches as well?
Yeah.
As you were growing up, were you the main guy there, on the sideline, really punching out there, yelling out, that's you there, Yeah,
I've always been super supportive of them.
Yeah.
But, their choice of sport is what they want to do.
Yeah.
And, for sure, they're well beyond me now for coaching.
Yeah.
And where they are today and what they want to do is their decision, but they could do some cool things, and I'm sure they probably will in the next
I think we're going to be reading or hearing about them in the news representing New Zealand or not far from it in the future. So I look forward to that. I was just thinking while we're listening to that story of the coast to coast and how he won the 2-day event. You went back that same year, didn't you? And with a mate, and thought, oh no, well, I'm bugger it. I'm not just going to, sit around and support. And you won, didn't you?
Yeah. So obviously, I've another 10 years on or whatever.
Yeah.
So, one of my great mates is Dan Bush from Nelson, and Bushy is a bit of a weapon on the river, and I've been biking quite a lot, obviously, over the years, and so we teamed up, and we've won the teams event a couple of times now, the Open Men's teams event. So racing all the young roosters. It's quite good to put one around them.
Oh, I just love it. Yeah, you're like, look at this. I'm not going to sit around and wait. I'll go out and do the teams and get amongst it. So well done. That's really cool. I suppose like where we're at now, right? Like we're in Marlborough. We're making great wine. You're now training. We heard, for Godzone coming up. How good is this for Marlborough that we got Godzone coming back? It obviously had a little bit of a 2-year sabbatical, would we say?
Yeah, a bit of a hiatus.
Yeah. Tell us where Godzone's at now and about it, because I want to get hyped up for it.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, great for the region. It's an amazing event, Godzone. It's been, so good for so many people, not just the ones at the pointy end of the race, just people who are doing it for the first time, weekend warriors. Gee, they just get so much out of it, that teamwork, that camaraderie, develop, some great skills and communication and working together, and that which you've got to do on Godzone, let alone the resilience factor and those sorts of things.
So it's a 10-day event.
Hopefully not 10.
But you're allowed 10 days. For the people that don't know Godzone, it's the hardest multisport event, would we say, in the world.
That's right. Hardest adventure race.
And in the world. You've got 10 days to complete it. It's been held around mainly New Zealand, right? There's been some additions in Australia, some TV shows that have done it in other countries, but primarily in New Zealand. So teams of 4, normally made up of 3 guys, 1 female.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And you had your first race in 2013?
Yeah, that's right, in Kaikoura. Yeah, we got 3rd in the Kaikoura race, first roll.
First crack.
And that's...
is that with the
team that we're going to race with?
Fantastic. And who's in that team, sorry?
So that's Dan Moore, who's local guy, lives out in Makapawa, in the Sounds, and also Naomi Whitehead, who's a doctor at Springlands Health.
Oh, wow.
And she lives out at Mahikapawa as well. And then good mate Dan Bush, who's based in Nelson, but he does quite a few roofs over here in Marlborough.
Perfect. So, Marlborough team. So you 2013 came 3rd. First off and how many days is that taking you to do that?
That was 5 days for that.
So the top guns are doing it in 5 days.
Yeah, 4.5 to 5 days.
Is that right? Yeah. And how much sleep are you getting?
Because
you're racing. Like how many kilometers are we doing?
Yeah, it should be probably 600 kilometers. So maybe slightly more. Not too sure, depending on the route, obviously, and how much you go round and round in circles at night or something. You might do a few more kilometres then. And
so you're racing all throughout the night, sleeping when you can. Over that 5-day period, let's say you're going through rivers, you're going up mountains, you're biking, you're sleep deprived, you're probably hungry. I've followed your wife and a bunch of mates doing it years ago. But what's going on in your mind when you're 3 days in, it's dark, it's pissing down with rain? Like, how much sleep have you had?
We sort of don't usually sleep for the first 30 hours.
You don't sleep 30 hours?
So that's sort of, where the hammer's down quite hard at that stage. That sort of first 30 hours sort of sets the scene of the race, sort of sets that top 10 teams in the field in general. And, they might change within that top 10 or what, but you sort of set the scene then.
Flexing muscles, would we say?
Well, you're probably right. I mean, there's quite a bit of,
it's like, I'm going to go longer than you. I can go without sleeping longer than you.
But sometimes you're trying to hit checkpoint. Or you're trying to get on the river and then rest after you're off the river or something, just so that you're maximising that time. There's a bit of strategy behind it as well. And
of course.
And obviously, guys are quite strong in those first 30 hours, first couple of days, and then often it's the girls who come through at the end and are super strong, which is pretty cool to see. They're definitely there and often in a better shape than some of the guys towards the end of the race.
Oh, too right. The one time I was down in Fjordland supporting and seeing what people were going through from day to day, coming out with trench foot in Fjordland, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And we were carrying people, their feet are literally rotting off and they're jumping back on their bike and they're off for a 12-hour bike ride through the mountains, not knowing where they're going into the dark. And you're just telling yourself the whole way through, like, just keep one foot in front of the other. Like, what are you telling yourself at that point?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously it's super key to have a great navigator or a really strong navigator. And that time when you're navigating at night during the dark is when, if you can keep moving at a really nice pace, then there's, some really good gains there. So, super key to have a good navigator, and particularly in some of the environment that we will end up racing in, it's not just white lines and road markers. So, those, and you touched on a key point, it's really tough going sort of between those hours of, say, midnight and 4 a.m, 5 a.m. It's quite hard work, but when the light comes up again, you sort of get a bit more endorphin and, get another release of energy and that and spark on forward. So always look forward to daylight, but that time can be quite tough in that period through the middle of the night and into the early hours in the morning.
Too right. So how many people can we expect in coming here at the end of November, early December for Godzone? Like, how many people are going to be part of this?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I haven't seen the total team list, but, there's obviously people's support crews and teams.
Hundreds of people.
There should be, hundreds of people, and, fantastic to have the Marlborough District Council behind it and the tourism stuff, and it'll just be, great for the region, time on the sounds and that I would imagine, to showcase the Marlborough sounds and some of the southern backcountry and that around Marlborough too.
Oh, too right. We're looking at country calendar. The Muller out the back there. How cool would it be to explore that and showcase that to people that it's not only New Zealanders coming, they've, from all around the world, teams are coming to do this, and what a place to show off about Marlborough, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's what we're here for as well, that tourism side, the wine, the aquaculture, all those, key things are really part of what we got going here in Marlborough. And hopefully some of that gets showcased, and the footage generally from Godzone is pretty smart and really utilisable for many things, and showcases the region well.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to be supporting your team, as you know, and I'm looking forward to taking some of my team out there and showing them what multisport and endurance is all about. And I think it's going to be really cool to see. And getting back to showcasing Marlborough and back to our probably our core, our wine industry, and what we've both made our careers on, and how we keep food on our table, and we're here to really crank Marlborough, and we're there's no secret about it. The wine industry is in a little bit of a low at the moment, right?
Sure, yeah.
And it's we need to be back out there showcasing our fantastic wines. What you've created here, we've talked about, Chardonnay. You're Mr. Chardonnay, I call you. Well, I'm sure I'm not the first one to call you Mr. Chardonnay, but Marlborough Sauvignon. we're the staple, we're the forefront of it. No one else can create the flavor profile like we can here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think it's getting back to the core of it and, just keeping some of those, pillars around what we do well here in Marlborough, quality, concentration of flavour and that as well. And not losing sight of that, and, certainly we've been doing some really good stuff in the market. I've spent, 3 weeks in the US. I've spent time in the UK and that as well. Supporting our brand, and driving, Sauvignon Blanc, driving Chardonnay, driving Pinot Noir, driving Pinot Gris, all out of the region. But not only when I'm there, I talk about, tourism. I talk about New Zealand tourism, how amazing place it is, all that stuff about adventure, memory, occasion. All that stuff's really, really important. And, we want people coming here. We want the tourists coming back to New Zealand. And that, after COVID and that, there's been quite a lull. It's starting to pick up again now. And, we need to keep, in front of our distribution and our customers and that as a supplier. So we can't lose sight of that. And people love, hearing, stories from New Zealanders and, that we are a cool nation and seen as the bottom of the world and somewhere with real adventure and beautiful landscape and scenery, and we need to match our wines with that and get some focus back and really maintain that quality going forward.
I couldn't agree with you more. And we've got such a beautiful country alone. We're not just here just purely focusing on Marlborough and Marlborough Sauvignon, obviously, but it's just getting people here and enjoying what we have on our back doorstep. And like, how many times would you travel a year? I'm sure you travel a lot promoting your wines. You're out there selling it actively, and you come back and you get back home. And would you say, like, experience-wise, Marlborough has got to be right up there?
Yeah, gee, it's nothing like coming home. But as I say, spend time across the world. Probably do sort of 10 weeks a year. Spend quite a bit of time in Australia as well. Australia is a really good market, big market for us. Yet it has plateaued at the moment. Some of that's maybe around drinks choice and maybe a bit of change with what people are drinking. So we as a business really need to keep people on the Sauvignon Blanc framework as well, and keep people enjoying that as a drink with food and with occasions and stuff. And I guess some of the stuff we're doing in Australia is Isabel Estate on the open air cinema and in Sydney, when that happens in the summer, we've got Matt Preston coming out, the chef, for plating locally here, and
how good.
Those sorts of things. And so we're trying to generate some real interest in that around not only Marlborough and not only Isabel Estate brand, but when I'm in the market, I talk about as I said before, other producers who make great wine. It's not just
you presented that at the start. It's not just a one-man band. It's a whole culture that we're creating, and we're selling to region, right? And I'm looking forward to things that we've got coming up. I saw come across at DC the other day, the 2027 World Sauvignon Blanc Conference coming back to Marlborough. Those things is what we've really got to get behind and support and showcase what we're all about, right?
Definitely. And, obviously the Pinot Noir one has been recently, and that was fantastic. And in Te Pai and in Christchurch, and, really enjoyed that event. And, those sorts of things keep generating that interest. And, we need to keep engaging those gatekeepers in the different markets. And obviously we've got, some good opportunity going forward off a small base in China, Korea, those sorts of places as well, that can start emerging as new people who will love Marlborough. How do we do that? How do we keep engaging them? How do we keep that next generation of wine drinkers who want that occasion where they have, a glass of wine or a bottle of wine, create those memories and that. And I think that's really important, is that real synergy between what we're producing and the time of it.
And I think you're doing so well. You're selling the experience and the love for the wine. Again, it's not just about picking up the cheapest bottle on the shelf and taking it to a party. I think there's the culture now more than ever, because it's becoming a healthier environment that we live in, would you say? So people are wanting that quality, and that experience when they're taking it to their friends for a meal or a restaurant. And, talking to Arthur here from Suave, that we're in, and, he's getting people here that, coming in for a nice bottle of Marlborough wine to take to dinner with them on a Friday night. And that's quite cool. And it's just that experience that we just, that we're creating, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that occasion drinking, and what we're sort of seeing and finding as well, that people maybe spending a bit more for that extra, the nicer bottle or that sort of thing. And there's definitely some good brand loyalty, and that you look at the Cloudy Bay model for one, fantastic model, fantastic for New Zealand. It's out there on the world stage, all over the globe. What a great brand, great Sauvignon Blanc. And, we all need to, work to get that sort of same story and that as well. And, there needs to be wine for all different people, though. There needs to be wine at entry level, but needs to be good quality and needs to engage people, and they need to enjoy it, as well as your sort of people who love their tried and true and or really enjoy a brand, or they know that brand for quality. And as you say, they put it on the table for dinner or out at a restaurant. So keeping that sort of front of mind, and those opportunities for people, because there's such a plethora of drinks choice out there across gin and RTD.
The RTD business, right? So where do you see the wine industry from where we are now in New Zealand, or even worldwide? Where do you see it in the next 5 years from now?
Yeah, I think there's some really key pillars that we've got to keep mindful of, and around one, sustainability for one, and it's a massive play for New Zealand. We should be really engaging that and driving that. It's when you see a lot of surveys and that from younger consumers or younger wine drinkers, they are interested in provenance. They are interested in the green side of it. They doesn't necessarily need to be organic, but needs to be sustainable. Needs to have some really good cues around where it's come from, what it's about. They like story, that sort of stuff as well, and how you build that into your brand, I guess, going forward.
Fantastic. I think there's some exciting things coming up. We know we've got the product. We know we've got the amazing region. We've got the fantastic winemakers here, mate, and people promoting it. And we've just got to carry on. Mate, I'm looking forward to seeing you in Godzone. You're a guy that never gives up. You've done so much, as I said, to date, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to achieve in the future. No doubt you'll be able to write a book, like they always say. But looking forward to seeing you on the hill, mate. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and chat to us and promote Marlborough and tell us a little bit about yourself and behind the scenes. So appreciate it.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having me. I hope people get something out of it, and a wide spectrum of different snippets of info. And I might be in my darkest moment on the hill, so probably looking like I need a shave and that, and the eyes drop. But I'll be smile will be on my face, and I'll be really happy to see you.
I might bring you a burley pie.
Fantastic.
Okay. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.